This is the weekend, guys. It's time for the Big Chungus Bowl. For this occasion, I've got this. This is the giant inflatable football and tee. For best results, inflate by blowing into the valve with your mouth only. That means that somebody did the unthinkable act of peeing on the football field. Yellow flag!
You're watching Chadtronic.
That's right, folks. This weekend is the Big Chungus. I actually can't say Super Bowl because Super Bowl is a trademark term by the NFL. That's why you always see grocery stores say the big game or the Super Bowl, spelled with like the actual word soup. Or my favorite, the Superb Owl. If you think I'm actually kidding, the NFL actually in 2008 sent a cease and desist to a church publicly throwing on what they called a Super Bowl party. And that is something that actually happened. So the NFL is a very supportive company of our American tradition of watching and celebrating football. But anyway, this video isn't about the Super Bowl. Despite the timing being very well for this video, it's not about the Super Bowl. This video is about NFL football airing on Nickelodeon. As in like the Nickelodeon TV channel. As in the same channel they air SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm not making this up. You may have heard about this. It's pretty weird. Like, imagine this. Just imagine this with me, right? You're young, you're growing up in the 90s, you're watching Nickelodeon. Maybe you actually did do this, maybe you didn't, but just imagine, okay? An episode of Rugrats just finished, and oh, look what's coming up next to watch. It's the Saints versus the Bears. I feel like if that happened, like for real, at the time, most kids would just channel surf, maybe watch Disney Channel until the football game was over. I feel like most kids would not really be interested in that. Like, take a step back and think about this. In 2021, these two programs are on the same channel. It's especially weird to me how this like partnership just like suddenly fell into place considering the Sweet Victory debacle that happened in 2019. Do you guys remember that? It just like felt like it happened yesterday. I'm sure everyone remembers that. We had to pull teeth and we had to spill blood for the NFL to show SpongeBob for 5 seconds during halftime. And now they just straight up show NFL games on Nickelodeon. Think about that. Which, by the way, if you'd like to hear more about that topic and why they didn't play Sweet Victory, I investigated that and made an entire other video you can watch right after this one. Let's crunch some numbers here, because no one's gonna explain this. We kind of just have to like, I don't know, dive into this ourselves and investigate. It's the only way we're gonna get any sort of answers with this. Why are they doing this? This is freaking weird. So, according to reports, Nickelodeon has 500,000 people watching at any one time, at least as of last year. But like, how good is that? Not great. Here's a chart that tallies viewers by the million for Nickelodeon since 2010. And as you can see, since 2010, it's dropping pretty rapidly. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like bring down Nickelodeon. I'm like the biggest Nickelodeon fan, if you couldn't tell. But there's a lot of factors that go into that. It's not just the decline of Nickelodeon. Other channels are seeing a similar decline, like Cartoon Network and Disney Channel. There's just a lot of things that exist now that didn't exist back then, like, you know, Netflix, streaming services, many things. So there are a lot of other factors to this. But the fact of the matter is, viewership has declined a lot for Nickelodeon over the years. But you know what still holds high numbers for television, despite everything else struggling? You guessed it, football. The average television audience size for an NFL season in 2019 was 16.5 million, but dropped 1.1 million viewers in 2020. So the NFL has been having a little fall off in interest. Knowing all of this, this makes the whole Nickelodeon NFL team up make a little more sense. The NFL hopes the younger audience watching a Nickelodeon will convert to becoming long-term fans, while Nickelodeon gets a quick viewer boost to sell higher ad rates for the channel, presumably. So it all makes sense, right? It might, but it's still super weird. I like this tweet right here. Nickelodeon recently aired a kid-friendly NFL game, complete with animated slime and appearances by SpongeBob. Some safety advocates warned against marketing NFL games to children, and indeed when a player sustained a brain injury during a violent tackle. And here you see a product of the pandemic. All the Nickelodeon cartoon characters are very interested and sitting in the stands and watching football. So the NFL games that you see on Nickelodeon are of course altered. They're a little different. They're like tailored to a more younger audience. They're, it's targeted at kids. They're trying to make it more appealing for kids. And so they've made a lot of changes. Some good, some not. Most of what's changed is just like, it's all digital. There's nothing physically different about the football game itself. It's like they just took like a virtual skin, a virtual Nickelodeon skin, and they wrapped it around the NFL football game. Everything has like a weird Snapchat-like filter about it. It's a little weird, but they do that so that the game can be unchanged for like, the more normal broadcasts. They put a lot of emphasis that the end zone is not an end zone, and instead it's, quote, a slime zone. I must have thought kids wouldn't have been able to comprehend what a touchdown is, or if they did, they wouldn't think it was exciting enough. So when players score a touchdown, this overlay with slime cannons appear and shoot out non-existent slime. All I can think about is how cool it would have been if they actually did that for real. If there were actual real slime cannons that shot real slime onto the players. That would have been awesome. The most satisfying part about watching people get slimed is watching them actually get slimed and messy. I know that would probably deeply interfere with the actual game, but hey, it would make for good TV, especially for kids. Which, speaking of this being for kids, apparently they weren't using a broadcast delay because this happened.
All right.
And just to be clear, I added the dolphin sound. There was no dolphin sound when it was on actual television. They might want to rethink using a broadcast delay in the future. An estimated 2 million kids saw that happen live.
All right.
A lot of kids don't know how football works. That's true. A lot of kids don't know how football works. For some reason, after some referee calls, young Sheldon pops up on the screen to make a explain I'm 5 statement. And quite frankly, I hate it. I think it would have been a lot cooler if they had the news fish from SpongeBob pop up to explain things. That would have been more funny and appropriate, I feel like. Why young Sheldon? I would say he barely fits into the category of being something from Nickelodeon. I don't get it. So if you couldn't tell, there's a lot of weird and desperate attempts to get kids to care about this, to get kids to care about NFL football. So one thing they also did is they make these constant comparison charts of players to help kids imagine what cartoon characters the players are like. Kids won't care about any of these athletes, but if they can imagine and pretend that they are cartoon characters, that'll instead make it more interesting for them. Maybe they should have just went one step further and did this Snapchat overlay of all the players in the game as cartoons. Make it the Super Smash Brothers of cartoon football. Also, for a lot of play breakdowns, they went with these Minecraft-looking graphics to explain things. See, kids? Football's like Minecraft. Now you care about it, right? Next, they should reenact all the plays in Roblox and give everyone guns. I think that's a good general summary of all the weird things they did. I understand that they're trying to make this work. It benefits both parties, the NFL and Nickelodeon. But at the end of the day, it's a little weird. And I'd be interested to hear what you guys think in the comments. Do you think this is a good idea? You think this was good that they did this? Or if it's not, what would you change about it? I'd be really interested to know your guys' thoughts. I think it's weird, but let me know what you think down in the comments. And of course, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video. Now, if you excuse me, I have a very strict appointment to tune in and watch the Big Chungus Bowl.
All right.